clearly the Biden administration hasn't really thought any of this through. So let's talk to someone who has, joining me in studio, professor of business and economics at the King's College in Manhattan, Fox News contributor, Brian Brenberg. We need Brianomics right now more than ever. They say $500 billion. That actually sounds low considering what they're doing.
I think it's low. The $500 to $600 billion you're hearing is talking about what they want to do right now. But this doesn't end here. There is no way that they're going to forgive loans for today's borrowers and ask tomorrow's borrowers to keep paying on their loans, right? Every generation hereafter is going to expect the same thing. So we're not talking about billions. We are talking about trillions if we keep going down this path. That's the problem here. Nobody's thinking long term. It's all short-term politics. It's all how can I buy votes in the midterm? But we're not thinking about what are you doing to colleges? What are you doing to the institution of a college education? The fact is, you're not fixing any of the problems. All you're doing is creating a massive new entitlement mentality in higher ed. And that is going to wreck whatever we still have left of that institution.
But that's what was so interesting about it. The president and Miguel Cardona both have come out and said, no, we fixed the glitch. Whatever the problem was, we fixed it. No, the problem is, the federal loans and this entire program has been created without any accountability from the colleges and universities. So now they know that they're getting even more free money. But to your point, if I have a 16-year-old, why wouldn't I assume that they also won't be paying for college?
You would be a fool. You'd be a fool to think I'm going to go pay those loans in the future because they're certainly not going to give anything away to me. They didn't fix the glitch. They doubled down on the glitch. That's exactly what they did. If you just look at the math, we're going to be back at the same $1.6 trillion in debt in like 4 years under this plan. It makes no economic sense. It makes no legal sense. It makes no ethical sense. It makes no logical sense. The only area where it maybe makes a little bit of sense, possibly, is politically. Yes. And I don't even think that's true because I actually think most people out there, unless you're getting a direct benefit, I think most people out there are saying, this stinks. People can do the math and they can think logically and they just realize that you can't play this out forever.
Yeah,
it won't work.
And more people didn't go to college. Number one, even successful people who didn't go to college, like Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, they went to 1 year.
How about the guy who
each.
fixed my plumbing? How about the guy who trims my trees? They're successful. They run businesses. They've borrowed a heck of a lot of money to get into those businesses. Nobody's paying that off for them. Those are the guys who are they're not just angry, but they lose hope in a country that says you don't matter. Preferential treatment only and always goes to the insiders, the elites, the higher education folks. The guys who do the work day to day start to say, this place isn't built for me.
Yeah, and there's no one lobbying for me.
Who lobbies for these guys?
Certainly not the unions, but it's the colleges and universities. And, 75% of their political donations go to Democrats. Right. It's slightly less than teachers' unions, but this is what they've been lobbying for. Why? Because they love learning. If they love learning, maybe they'd have more professors and fewer administrators.
Yeah.
But it's the inverse of that. And they have no problem sticking it to, these phantom billionaires who are supposedly going to pay for everything.
Colleges are so bloated. And what an indictment of colleges to say.
And you're a college professor.
I'm a college professor, and professors should be number one against this because what this whole policy says is colleges have so overcharged and underdelivered that we're asking people who were not customers to bail out your customers. How terrible is that? And actually, I agree, there's a lot of colleges that haven't done a whit of good for the people they've run through the system, but there are colleges that do a great job. And guess what? It's hard for us to compete now because these kids say, do I really care what the college does? I just want to have fun, and they're going to pay me to go there.
Yeah,
they're not doing the cost benefit.
Young men are enrolling in colleges at much lower numbers than they have in decades because the system is really set up against them. But hey, man, if I'm a future college borrower, I'm just going to assume that I can default on that debt. And if I can default on my college debt, why not my housing debt?
It keeps rolling down the line to mortgage, car. Then when you get a job, you say, you know what, I'm entitled to this job, just like I was entitled to the education, and I'm entitled to not have to come into the office and work. You tell me where the logical flaw is. It will never end, folks, if you don't nip it in the bud now.
Absolutely right. And no one's ever going to be successful. Everyone's going to be completely mediocre, and then the United States will suck. Brian Brenberg, Brianomics, thank you so much.
Yep.